welcome back. Just going to talk again about types of therapy, part 3, and I'm going to go into humanistic therapy. So, humanistic and integrative, or humanistic as in person-centered therapy, and that's where I'm trained, that's my modality. So, what this focuses on is the self exploration, so your exploration of yourself and your personal growth. So, it emphasizes a non judgmental and supportive environment, which is, you'll see that if you look up humanistic therapists on any of the accredited bodies. Normally what they put out there is, I offer a very safe, supportive, non-judgmental space. Realistically, that's generally what every therapist does. So no, it's a as it says, it's a fully self-exploring. It's trusting you that you know what you're talking about and you know where you need to go, even if you don't know it yet. That's what the therapist's there for, so we can work with each other to find out what your best self will become. Really interesting thing. So, to make it simply about humanistic therapy, it helps you to understand yourself better and it supports you in making choices true to your life. So, and that's, I always think of this as comparing someone coming and saying, fix me, tell me what I need to do. The therapist is, no, I'm not going to know what you need to do at all. That's not even part of why, how could I know what you need to do? It's your life, you've lived your entire life, you're the expert there. So we'll get to a place where I'll say, well, these are your choices, what feels right for you, this kind of, and then you go, oh, that's where I want to go. And it sounds simplistic, it's kind of been a bit reductionist there as well, but that's, as simple as I can make it. It's bite size. So then there's also interpersonal therapies, which is another short-term therapy, and that focuses on improving your interpersonal relationships and your communication. So if you're having issues with relationships and communication and stuff like that, well, obviously interpersonal therapy might be an area you need to go, and someone might have that advertised. So again, to explain this simply, it helps you to handle relationship problems and any life changes that affect your mood. And it could be quite significant, because if you can think about it, the way we are in the world and the way we are with families, and yeah, families introduce a family and you've introduced frustration. So there's ACT therapy, as acceptance and commitment therapy. So what this is about, it encourages acceptance of difficult emotions and commitment to actions that align with your values. So again, we're looking at parts of you know best. And to explain that simply, it teaches you to accept what you can control. So big challenge there, and live a meaningful life based on your values. And then one that fascinates me, it's really interesting, and it's fairly new, and I'm not sure if it was Bezel van der Kolk who created this, but I know there's a big part of him in this. Eye movement, EMDR, eye movement desensitization and reprocessing. Big word, but basically EMDR. There's some really amazing therapists out there. So my understanding of this, it's really good for PTSD and very significant traumas, and it's a structured therapy mainly used for trauma. So it uses eye movements and to help process the stress and memories. And any feedback I've had from people who've gone through EMDR is they felt a bit strange, they felt a bit unusual, not for the therapy itself, but for what the expectation is of them, to what they needed to do. Like, so there might be, tapping, or there might be, the therapist might be very close to you, and this. So it's all about, before you pick a therapy, just try to understand what they're going to do with you in the room. Because when I get negative feedback on the likes of EMDR, I'm like, I think EMDR is brilliant. I would love to go on and train in EMDR eventually, because it's hugely beneficial for trauma. And again, in my research for my dissertation, EMDR was the thing. If you're dealing with, which I do a lot of trauma work, it shortens the therapy with EMDR as far as I'm concerned, and from my understanding, when it's used right and when the person engages properly with it. So very helpful therapy, and yeah, I would be an advocate and supporter of that. Not trained in it, unfortunately, but I would be very fond of EMDR. Anyway, we'll stop there. I think we've done 3 now, and we'll add another 2 now. I think it's 2 left in the next one. Thank you.